Hello everyone. Let's discuss the constructing non-objective supply type. The first one is essay type. Let's talk about the essay type questions and why they are important in tests and exams. Essay questions belong to what we call the supply category. This means the answers must be written entirely by you or by the students from your own understanding or from their own understanding and ideas. Now, why do we use essay questions? It's because they are great for testing deep understanding and how well you can reason through a topic. These questions are not about simply memorizing facts. They are about showing how you think and how well you can explain your ideas. To answer essay questions well, you need to use different thinking skills like comparison or looking at similarities and differences, induction or drawing general conclusions from specific examples, deduction, applying general principles to specific situations, abstracting or identifying key ideas and patterns, or analyzing perspectives or meaning, understanding different points of views, decision making, choosing the best solution or idea, problem solving or finding ways to fix or address a problem, constructing support or backing up your answers with strong evidence, and experimental inquiry or meaning, exploring and testing ideas to reach a conclusion. So, essay type questions are not just about writing, they challenge you to think critically and express yourself clearly. Remember, practicing the skills will not only help you in school but also in real life situations where problem solving and reasoning are very essential. Next slide. Two types of essay items. Let's now discuss the restricted response type of essay items. This question or directive given suggests a specification in constructing the response. It can be in terms of limited coverage of content, specified length of response, expected form of response, or definite perspective or mindset to be used. This type of essay questions is called restricted because it gives specific instructions or limitations on how you should answer. These restrictions can guide you in several ways. The first one is the content. It may ask you to focus only on a particular topic or idea. Number two, length. It might tell you how much or how little you need to write. Number three, form. Or it can specify how you should organize your response, such as writing in an outline or bullet points. And number four, perspective. It can ask you to answer from a specific point of view or using a certain approach. In expected response, for each question, your answer should follow the specific instructions provided. This ensures clarity and focus in your response while still allowing you to demonstrate your knowledge and reasoning. Examples of restricted response items. Number one, restricted content. The question is, what is the famous tourism spot on the island of Luzon and why is it popular? So in here, you're limited to answering only about Luzon's tourism spots, not the whole Philippines. Number two, restricted length. The question is, on a half sheet of paper, describe the benefits that could be derived from Samahang Kabataan as an organization. In here, this limits how much detail you can include since you only have half a sheet of paper. Number 3, restricted form. The question is, prepare a two-tier outline of an advocacy plan for community involvement in waste reduction and disposal. So your response must be in the form of a structured outline, not a paragraph. And last, number 4, restricted perspective. So the question here is, describe the origin of man according to the theory of evolution. So you must answer based only on the evolutionary theory, not any other beliefs or theory or ideas. Now, let's talk about the second type of essay item, which is the extended response type. The question or directive thus does not suggest any form of restriction in the construction of the response. The students are free to organize and respond on their ideas freely. In this type of essay questions, there are no restrictions on how you construct your response, and you are free to organize your ideas in any way you think is best and expand on your thoughts as much as needed and use evidence or examples to support your points. So we have here um, the sample items and description of expected response. For extended response items, the answers should demonstrate critical thinking or showing a deep understanding by analyzing and connecting ideas, organizing or arrange your ideas logically and cohesively, supporting or provide evidence, examples, or reasoning to back up your claims. And number 4, clarity and depth. Use clear language and explore the topic thoroughly. Here are the sample items for extended response questions. Number 1, socio-economic issues. The question here is, explain how the prevailing socio-economic issues affect the lives of the people in our country today. Means this question allows you to explore multiple issues like poverty, unemployment, or inflation. You decide how to organize and explain their effects. Number 2, climate change. The question here is, what evidences of climate change do you now observe, and what ways can men mitigate their negative effects? So in here, you can describe various observations, example, rising temperatures or stronger storms, and suggest different solutions freely and using your own perspective. And number 3, constitutional change. The question here is, are you in favor of constitutional change to institute political reforms? Support your answer. So in here, you have the freedom to agree or disagree, explain your position, and present arguments and evidence in detail. This type of essay questions gives you the opportunity to show not just what you know, but how well you can think, reason, and communicate your ideas. It's especially useful for testing creativity, problem solving, and persuasive skills.
Suggestions for constructing essay question are given by Miller, Lin, and Garland. First, restrict the use of essay question to those learning outcomes that cannot be measured satisfactorily by objecting items. So, sinasabi dito, ang essay question ay ginagamit lamang para sukatin ang mga kaalaman na hindi kayang matukoy gamit ang simpleng objective na tanong tulad ng multiple choice or true or false. Second, construct question that will call for the skills specified in the learning standard. Gumawa ng tanong na akma sa kakayahang gustong makita. Number 3 naman is phrase the question so that the student task is clearly defined. Siguraduhing malinaw ang mga tanong na ibibigay natin sa ating estudyante upang maintindihan nila ito at maayos nila ang kanilang mga kasagutan.
4. Indicate an approximate time limit for each questions. This helps students budget their time effectively and ensures they can adequately address each questions within the allotted time. It also provides a clear expectation for the length and depth of the response. Halimbawa na lamang dito ay yung nagbigay ka nga ng questionnaire sa mga mag-aaral mo na kung saan magbibigay ka ng takdang oras kung ano oras nila dapat matapos yung questionnaire na yun. 5. Avoid the use of optimal questions. This encourages students to engage with all aspects of the materials and prevent them from selecting easier questions. It also ensures a consistent assessment experience for all students. Dito naman, dapat daw is hindi ka na paligoy-ligoy sa kung ano man yung nasa questionnaire mo. Halimbawa, nagbigay ka ng question na kung saan hindi agad o mahirapan yung estudyante mo na matukoy kung ano yung sagot. Mas maganda daw na tiyak na kung ano yung o direct na kung ano yung nasa questionnaire para mas madaling masagutan ng mga estudyante mo.
Table 8.11 Analytic Scoring. Criterion, organization, clarity of message, creativity, total, and overall. Pag sinabi natin organization, kaayusan ng gawa. Pag sinabi natin clarity of message, kalinawan ng mensahe, and creativity is pagkamalikain. Total, ang kabuuang puntos na pinagsama-samang marka mula sa lahat ng criteria. Ito yung mga numbers. And yung overall rating naman is ito yung halimbawa ng exemplary, very satisfactory, moderately satisfactory, fairly satisfactory, needs improvement. Pag sinabi naman natin exemplary, 6 points is pinakamataas na marka o magaling. Pag sinabi naman natin very satisfactory, 5 points. Ito naman yung halos mahusay, ngunit may kaunting kulang. Pag sinabi naman natin satisfactory, 4 points. Sapat pero may kaunting kulang. Pag sinabi naman natin moderately satisfactory, 3 points. Ito naman yung medyo sapat, may kulang. Pag sinabi naman natin fairly satisfactory, sapat pero marami ring kulang. Pag sinabi naman natin need to improvements, ito na yung maraming kailangan ayusin, and ito ay 1 point.
Table 8.12, rubric for analytic scoring. For the criterion, first, facts and opinions clearly and distinguish. Second, credibility of source. Third, relevance of materials used. Fourth, use of logic. Fifth, total and the overall rating. Mayroon tayong pagbibigay ng puntos. Kapag exemplary, 6 points. Kapag very satisfactory, 5 points. Kapag satisfactory, 4 points. Moderately satisfactory, 3 points. Fairly satisfactory, 2 points. And need improvement, 1 point. Sabi dito, Rubric for analytic scorings are crucial because they provide clear, objective criteria for evaluating student work. They break down complex skills into specific components, allowing for more precise feedback and target instruction. This transparency helps students understand expectation and improve their performance. Ayan. Sa pamamagitan nga ng mga rubric para sa analytic scoring, ito ay mahalaga kasi malalaman ng estudyante kung saan ba siya dapat mag-improve pa para din makita niya yung work na ginagawa niya sa mga gawain. Meron pa ditong ibinigay na halimbawa, nagbigay ka ng task. Task design a plan for a experiment showing the effect of amount of water on plant growth. For the scoring criterion, completeness of plan. Rubric. For the label, outstanding. The description is all parts of the plan, especially the procedure, are concisely and very satisfactorily described. Very good, all parts are given and satisfactorily described. And good, all parts are given but with minimal description. Fair, all parts are given but without description. Needs improvement, parts are incomplete and without description. Ayan, sa pamamagitan nga ng pag-i-scoring o pagbibigay ng rubric para sa gawain ay mahalaga kasi dito natin makikita yung talagang improvements ng estudyante kung nagagawa ba niya ng wasto o tama ang kanilang proyekto.
There are suggestions also given by Miller, Lane, and Grunlund in 2009, page 254, to improve the reliability of scoring response to essay questions. Number 1, prepare an outline of the expected answer in advance, particularly for each outline that treat the task. Having a list of the expected watch, principle, or 2 theories to explain phenomenon will be a very useful to the teacher. Restricted response 3. Number 2, use the scoring rubric that is not appropriate. The nature of thread quite significant. What most and what should be used. Quite the kind of information that will be communicated by the teacher to the students too. Number 3, decide how to handle factors that are irrelevant to the learning outcomes being measured. As mentioned earlier in this chapter, scoring of essay could be influenced by irrelevant, as mentioned, canned writing. Teachers should decide in advance whether these factors are to be ignored or not. Number 4, evaluate all responses to one question before going to the next one. Very likely, scoring of the subsequent question could be influenced by the student's response to the preceding item. Consistency in scoring is better attained when intercomparison of responses of the members of the class to the same item is done. Number 5, when possible, evaluate the answers without looking at the student's name. An acceptable practice in testing is making students use a separate sheet for their response to the essay questions and make them write their names at the back of the answer sheet. Sometimes teachers could influence by who the student is, and some form of bias could happen in favor of better or popular students. Number 6, especially important decisions are to be based on the results obtained 2 or more independent ratings. To do away with scorers' bias, scorers could reliably carried out by 2 independent raters, and the final scores being the average of the 2 ratings.
And now let's move on to the constructing selected response types. Let's now talk about one type of test question you might encounter. So the first one is the binary choice or alternate form. This type is simple because you only have two options to choose from. Let's break it down into different kinds. The first one is the true or false. In here, you're given a statement and you decide if it's true or false. Example, the planets of the solar system revolve around the sun. So, the answer is either true or false. Number 2, yes or no. In here, you're asked a direct question and you answer either yes or no. Example, do the planets of the solar system revolve around the sun? So, your answer either yes or no. Number 3, right or wrong. In here, this involves deciding if a computation, equation, or statement is correct. So, example, factors of 18 are 2, 3, 6, and 9. So, if your answer are right, you can write letter R or the word itself right. Or if your answer is wrong, you can answer the big letter W or the word itself wrong. Number 4, correction. In here, if a statement is incorrect, you are asked to correct it. Example, the biggest planet in the solar system is the Earth. The statement here is incorrect, so you must provide the correct answer. So the biggest planet in the solar system is the Jupiter. Multiple true or false. Several statements are given, and you must identify each as true or false. Example, number 1, the Ebola virus is airborne. Identify it as true or false. Number 2, it is transmitted through body fluids. Identify it as true or false. And number 3, both children and adults can be affected. So you identify it true or false. Number 6, yes or no with explanation. So in here, similar to yes or no, but if you answer no, you must explain why. So example, are weather systems independent of each other? So the answer is yes or no, and if you answer no, you explain your answer. This format makes it quick to answer, but you must read carefully to avoid mistakes. Next slide. When creating binary choice questions, we need to ensure they are clear and effective. Here are some tips based on experts like Macmillan in 2007 and Musial et al. In 2009. Number 1. Align options with the logic of the proposition. In here, make sure the options true or false, yes or no, etc. directly relate to the statement or questions. The choices should make sense logically. Number 2, focus on a single fact or idea. In here, avoid combining multiple ideas in one statement. Keep it simple and specific to avoid confusion. Number 3, avoid long sentences. Short and clear sentences are easier to understand and reduce the chance of misinterpretation. And number 4, avoid insignificant or trivial facts or words. In here, test meaningful and important information. So don't waste time on details that aren't relevant to what students need to learn. These tips will help us create questions that are both clear and fair for students. Next slide. Now let's look at some examples of purely constructed binary choice test items. These examples highlight mistakes we should avoid. Number 1, yes or no. 4 and 6 are factors of 24. Here, why it's bad? Because the question combines two ideas. If one is true and the other is false, the answer becomes unclear. Number 2, true or false. Right to suffrage is given to citizens in a democratic country in order to enjoy economic gains. Why it is bad? Because the statement is vague and includes unnecessary details. So, the unnecessary detail is that the economic gains, which confuse the main idea. Number 3, true or false. Criterion reference tests are interpreted based on a standard that determines whether students have reached an acceptable level or not. This is poorly constructed because the sentence is long and overly complex, making it hard to understand. Number 4, true or false. Legumes, beans, and nuts should be avoided by people who are suffering from gout, whether inherited or not from their parents. So it is poorly constructed because it contains too much detail and irrelevant information. Where is the irrelevant here? The irrelevant here is the whether inherited or not from their parents, because this distracts from the main idea. Number 5, true or false. All European nations are not in favor of joining the European Union. It is poorly constructed because the statement uses the word all, which makes it extreme and hard to justify. It's also factually incorrect. Number 6, true or false. Essay tests are never easy to score. Oh, why it's bad? Because the word never makes it an absolute statement, which is often inaccurate. And number 7, true or false? People from cold countries typically drink wine every day. It is purely constructed because this is based on a stereotype and not factual, which makes it unfair as a test item. To create effective binary choice test items, avoid combining ideas, using unnecessary details, or relying on stereotypes or extreme language like all or never. Focus on clarity and accuracy instead.
3 subtypes, 2 multiple choice item. Stimulus, stem, a question or incomplete statement. Pag sinabi natin stimulus, ito ang tanong na naglalaman ng impormasyon upang magabayan ng mga mag-aaral sa pag-iisip ng tamang sagot. Dalawang kailangang format. Ito ay direct question form at incomplete statement form. Pag sinabi namang direct question form, Ang tanong ay direkta at kailangan piliin ang tamang sagot mula sa pagpipilian. Pag sinabi naman nating incomplete statement or correct answer version, ito naman yung tanong na hindi kompleto at kailangang hanapin ang sagot sa pagpipilian. Halimbawa nito is yung fill in the blanks. Example dito yung among the Asian countries, one of which has a government with 3 branches in. Tamang sagot dito is Philippines. And the response is letter or numeral of the selected option or the chosen structure. Pag sinabi naman natin letter or numeral or selected option, sinasabi dito na ito ay tumutukoy sa numero o titik ng sagot na pinipili ng mag-aaral mula sa pagpipilian. Kunyari ito, A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4, mga ganon.
Matching items. List of premises. Words or phrases to be matched or associated with an appropriate word. List of response. Homogeneous alternative or options from which to select what will match the premise. May binigay ditong illustration. The first column describes events associated with Philippine president, while the second column gives their names in a space provided. Write the letter of the president that matches the description. Kailangan nilang tapatin ang tamang sagot mula sa column A patungo sa column B kung ano yung tamang kasagutan. First question, first President of Republic, 2. Declared martial law during his term. Third, first President to resign from office. Fourth, first woman President. Column B, A. Corazon Aquino, B. Ferdinand Marcos, C. Joseph Estrada, and D. Emilio Aguinaldo. For matching items in assessment is important in ensuring that test questions as accurate measure the intended learning outcomes. It ensures that each question or task aligns with a specific skill or concept, preventing irrelevant or misleading assessment. Yan. Yung pagkakaroon ng matching type o matching item na ibinibigay natin sa student ay naipapakita ng mga estudyante kung talaga bang alam na nila o may karunungan na sila patungkol sa paksa na itinalakay mo, na ginawan mo ng katanungan sa pamamagitan ng pagmamatching type.
Certainly, let's break down each guideline for constructing matching items. Number 1, keep the list of premises and the list of options homogeneous or belonging to a category. This means that both of the premises, the statements or the question on the left, and the options, the answer on the right, should be related to the same topic or concept. This helps maintain clarity and focus on the matching task. Number 2, keep the premises always in the first column and the option in the second column. This establishes a consistent format, making it easier for test takers to understand the structure of the matching exercise. Number 3, keep the lists in the two columns unequal in number. These guidelines ensure that the matching process isn't trivial. If the list have an equal number of items, test takers could simply pair them up without considering the relationship between them. By having an unequal number, it forces them to think critically and match the correct options. Number 4, test direction always describe the basis for matching. The instruction should clearly explain the criteria or principle that should be used to match the premises with the options. This could be based on the cause and effect, chronological order, definition, or any other relevant connection. Number 5, keep the number of premises not more than 8 as shown in the two sample items. This guideline suggests that having too many premises can make the matching task overwhelming and time-consuming. Limiting the number of 8 or fewer helps maintain focus and prevents confusion. 6. Ambiguous lists should be avoided. Both the premises and options should be clear and ambiguous. Avoid using vague and confusing language that could lead to multiple interpretation. This ensures that there is the only one correct match for each premise. By following these guidelines, you can create effective matching items accurately, assess students' knowledge and understanding.